Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 1-1 of May-June 2017 for Add Math. So let's move on to question number 1. So here we have the line y equal to kx minus 5, where k is a positive constant, is a tangent to the curve at the point A. Okay, so we know k is a positive constant, so we have to find the exact value of k. So when you see a line is a tangent to the curve, you have to think about b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0 because the line meets the curve at only one point on the curve. That's why it's a tangent. That's why we have to use this thing. But first we have to solve them simultaneously, okay? So here we have y, here we have y. So we just have to replace in each other by substitution. So we have kx minus 5 on one side, and you will have x squared plus 4x on the other side. Then we have to send everything to one side. You will have x squared plus 4x minus kx plus 5 is 0. So now we have to factorize those two because they have x term in them. So you will have plus 4 minus k x plus 5 is 0. Now if you observe, here we have 1, right? This is your a, this is your b, and this is your c. So we write b squared, which is 4 minus k squared minus 4 times a and times c, 0. So now we just have to expand and solve. You will have 16 minus 8k plus k squared minus 20 is equal to 0. So you will have k squared minus 8k. That will be 16 minus 20 is minus 4 equal to 0. So now you observe it's not possible to factorize directly, so we have to solve by your formula. So let's continue on this side. So we have k will be equal to minus b plus, we can forget the minus because we need only a positive value. As you can see, we only need a positive value. So b squared, that will be 64 minus 4 times a, which is 1, and times c, which is minus 4, over 2 times 1, which is 2. Now we have to find the value in the square root. So 64 minus 4 times 1 times minus 4, that should be 80. So k will be 8 plus root of 80 divided by 2. So now we can simplify. What is root of 80? Let's write down. That can be simplified too. We can have, they will be 16 times 5, which is 4 root 5. Okay, so replace back in the main equation. K will be 8 plus 4 root 5 divided by 2. Now we have to simplify. 2 cancel out. You will have 4 plus 2 root 5. And that is your value of k. Okay, that is part 1. Now for part 2, we have to find the gradient of the normal to the curve at the point A, giving you answer in the form of this. So first, if you want to find the gradient of the normal, you have to first find the gradient of the tangent. And we know that already because from part A, gradient of the tangent is equal to k. So how do I know this? If you observe here, you will see you have a line. Let me write this down. Your line is y equal to kx minus 5. Now if you compare with your equation, mx plus c, m is your k, which is your gradient. That's why k is your gradient of the tangent. Now if you still want to understand better, if you draw the curve will be something like this. This is your point A, and this is your line, right? They touch at one point, at the point A. But given that the equation of a line, so the line is always a straight line, it has a constant gradient. So gradient of line is equal to k, right? At this point, since they meet at this point the gradient is also equal to k. So that's why we conclude that the gradient of the tangent is k, which is the line. Okay, so we know that k is equal to 4 plus 2 root 5, but now we want to find the gradient of the normal. Normal will be something in this direction at 90 degrees. So we have to know from this we can derive normal will be minus 1 over 4 plus 2 root 5. That is your gradient of your normal. But we have now to express that in this form. We have to simplify. So we have to multiply top and bottom by their conjugate. So one by one. On top you will have pretty easy. Now become 2 root 5 minus 4. And for the base you will have, so 4 square, 16, minus 4 times, so that will be what? 2 square 4, 5, that will be 5. That will be 2 root 5 minus 4 divided by 16 minus 20 is minus 4. So simplify, that will be 1 minus half root 5. And this is your answer for the gradient of the normal. And that is expressed in this form where a and b are constant. A and b are constant. And this is your answer for question number 1. Let's move on to question number 2. It is given that p of x is equal to this equation. Now, when p of x is divided by this, the remainder is this. Okay. Now, given that p prime of 1 is equal to 0, find the values of a and b. So one by one, look at this one first. When p of x is divided by x minus 3, the remainder is 6. So it means if you take the value of x, because whenever you see the factor is this, you have to equate that to 0 to find the value of x. X will be 3. So p of x 3 is equal to 6. This is our first equation. Let's replace the value of x by 3 in this. You will have 3 power 3 is 27 plus 9a plus 3b minus 48, and that is supposed to give you 6. Now we can simplify. 9a plus 3b is what? 27 minus 48. 6 plus answer. That should be, sorry. So that will be minus 21, right? You will have 6. So 9a plus 3b, 27. Now divide by 3 everywhere, you will have 3a plus b is 9. That is number 1. Now number 2, we have to use this information. So p prime of x is just differentiation of this one. You will have 3x squared plus 2ax plus b. And we have p prime of 1 is equal to 0. Replace, you will have 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 a1 plus b, and that is supposed to be 0. So we have 2a plus b is minus 3. That is 2. Now let's solve for the values of a and b by using simultaneous equations. Here we have b. b is 9 minus 3a. Replacing here, you will have 2a plus 9 minus 3a. That is minus 3. Minus a will be minus 12. A will be 12. Now b, 9 minus 3 times 12. That will be 9 minus 36. That will be minus 27. So that's it. So the values of a is 12 and b will be minus 27. That is your question number 2. Now question number 3, we have to simplify this, giving you answers in terms of this. So let's do step by step. So the first thing you know is that square root is power half, and this power half will be simplified to x power 4, y power 5. Divide is just divide, and this is power 1 over 3. You will have x and y minus 2. Now you have x power 4, divide is minus, this is power 1, so 4 minus 1 is power 3. And y power 5, divide is minus, so 5 minus minus 2 is 7. And this is your answer for part A. Now for part B, show that this can be written in this form, where P, Q, R are constant to be found. So how can we write this? Let's observe. Here we have, let's observe. So here we have 4 t minus 2 power half plus 5. So you have to know what is t minus 2 power 3 over 2. So this can be broken down into t minus 2 power 1 times t minus 2 power half. So let's write this down here. You will have okay, so as you can see, this and this are the same, so we can factorize that. You will have t minus 2 power half will be outside, and you will have 4 plus 5 t minus 2 inside. Now simplified, you will have what here? 4 plus 5t minus 10, 5t minus 6. So you will have t minus 2 power half and 5t minus 6. This is your answer for part 1, B1. Now B2, hence we have to solve this equation. So basically, hence means we have to use your answer for part 1, which is this, solve this equation. So pretty easy. You will have t minus 2 power half 5t minus 6 is equal to 0. So first you will have t minus 2 power half is 0 and 5t minus 6 is 0. So t minus 2 will be 0, t will be 2, and here you will have t is equal to 6 over 5. So you will have two answers for your question, for your value of t. And this is question number 3. Let's move on to question number 4. We have, it is given that f of x is given by this for all real values of x. Okay. Now part 1, find the range of x. So you have to know, range means the y values of x. How much can it go up or down? Basically, we can use this value here given to you to determine, or you can use a graph. If you want to observe, you can use the graph to see what happens to the value of this one. Now here we have plus 5. You draw the line plus 5, for example. This is the line, I'm sorry, this is your line y equal to 5. And basically what happens is the graph will look something like this. So this point here is always called your asymptote. Basically, your curve would always be approaching this value, but we would never touch this line. So it means that your value, your range of f, has to be always bigger than 5. Okay, that's why it's easy. State using this value 5. Okay. Now part 1. So that is almost always the case with exponential curve. Okay. So just remember, whenever you have something exponential plus a value here, this value here will be your asymptote, your horizontal asymptote usually. And if there's nothing, it means plus 0, which is your x-axis. Okay, just know this for exponential curves. Now for part 2, we have to find f inverse of x, f inverse, and state its domain. Now inverse is pretty easy. We first have to let y equal to f of x, which is this. Then we have to make x become your subject of formula. So y and x will be minus 1. Sorry, I forgot ln. I have to write ln here. So finally, f inverse, it is in terms of x. You have to write minus 1 over 4 ln of x minus 5 over 3. Now if you want to simplify some more, you can always do that. Let me show you guys. You can send this power here. You will have ln of x minus 5 over 3 power minus 1 over 4. And then again, if you want to simplify, that will become f inverse of x, that will be ln of 3 over x, that will become positive the value. Okay, so that will be one way of simplifying this to this. Now again, we have to state its domain. So to know its domain, we have to use a trick. We have to know that domain of f inverse, it is equal to range of f. So range of f is equal to 5, more than 5, as you can see here. So domain, we have to write x is more than 5. So this is your domain of f inverse. So just to recall, when they ask you domain, you have to write x. When you ask you for range, it is either f or you can write y. Okay, remember this. So domain of f inverse, it is x, but it is equal to the range of this. So we know range is more than 5, so x will have to be more than 5. That is part A. Now part B, it is given that we have g of x equal to this function. We have h of x equal to this function. We have to solve for this value. So step by step, h g of x is h of g of x, which is ln of g of x. That will be ln of x squared plus 5, and that is equal to 2. X squared plus 5 is equal to exponential 2. Now solve x squared is equal to exponential 2 minus 5. X will be positive value of this because x cannot be negative. This is your answer for part B. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here we have a shape OABC, right? Where OA is A, OB is B, OC is C. Now the lines AC and OB, they meet at the point M. M is the midpoint of AC. Okay, that's the first thing we know. Now part 1 is find in terms of A and C the vector OM. So how would you find OM? Starting from O, you have to go to C, and C go into, or we can do O go into A go into M. Makes sense, right? So let's do that. OM is O going to A plus A going to M. Now step by step, OA has been given to you by A, plus AM is half of AC because M is the midpoint of AC. Now AC is equal to what? It is AO plus OC, which is minus A plus C. Half will be, replace here, you will have A plus half of minus A plus C. That will become half A plus half C. That is your value of OM. Okay. Now what else? We have part 2. Given that the ratio of OM and MB is 2:3, find B in terms of CA and C. Okay, so let's see where's that. The ratio of OM and MB is 2:3. So we have to find B in terms of A and C. So B is OB. Okay, so we have to find OB in terms of OB is B, right? In terms of A and C. So how would you find OB? If you observe, basically OB will be how many times the value of OM. So we have an equation here. OM ratio of MB is 2:3. But everything will be OB, will be 5. So you have to know OM. So 2 is equal to OM, which is equal to half A plus half C. So what is 5? 5 is OB, right? Which is B. That will be this. Divide by 2 times 5. Okay. So replace the values here. You will have. So you will have half. Let's take a half outside. You will have A plus C times 5 over 2. That will give you 5 over 4 times A plus C. That is B in terms of A and C. That is for part 2. Now for part B, we have vectors I and j are unit vectors parallel to the x and the y-axis. Basically, this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. So one unit here will be 1i and one will be 1j, if that makes sense, right? So let's see what else. So the vector p has a magnitude of 39 units and has the same direction as this. Okay, so we have to find the p in terms of this. So first we have to find, it has the same direction, but we have to find the unit vector of this. Let's call this one w of w. That will be this I plus 24j divided by the magnitude. The magnitude will be square root of 100 plus 24 square. Okay, so what is that? 100. That will be minus 10i plus 24j divided by root of 676. Now to find the p is basically the magnitude of 39 times in this direction of the unit vector to find the vector in terms of I and j. So what is the root of that? That is 26. So let's see what we have. We can factorize out 2 here. You will have 39 divided by 26 times 2. That will be 3. So if you divide that, you will have 1.5 times this. You will have minus 15i plus 24 times 1.5 should be 36. Okay, this is your answer for the value of p. So first you have to find the unit vector of this direction and then multiply by the magnitude of p to find the vector p. Okay, that is part 1. Now part 2, find the vector q such that 2p plus q is parallel to the positive y-axis and has a magnitude of 12 units. So we know p is equal to minus 15i plus 36j. Now what will be this? Let's write this down. So 2p plus q will be something like 30i plus 72j plus q that we don't know, right? But we say it is parallel to the positive y-axis. So this is your y-axis, this is your x. Okay, now if it is parallel to the y-axis and has a magnitude of this one, so parallel to y-axis means it only has the value of j, right? Because that's the only direction you will move to. It doesn't have any value of I, so it has nothing in terms of I. It means that I will become 0. So let's see. First we can say let q equal to ai plus bj. So here we will have something like, let's see, you will have minus 30 plus 72j plus q, which is ai plus bj. Now let's group everything together. So let's group the i's together. Minus 30 plus a, that will be I plus 72 plus b and j. Now we know that we know that we know that this value here will be 0. Why? Because it tells you that it is parallel to the y-axis. It only goes up. It doesn't go in this direction. That's why there's no I. It only goes up. That will be 0. So we know that minus 30 plus a will be 0. It means that a has to be 30. Now for this one, how do you find this? We have to look at the magnitude is 12. It means that when it goes in this direction, in the j direction, the size is 12. So we know that 72 plus b has to give you 12 because it has only a size of 12 in this direction. Now b will be minus how much? 12 minus 72 minus 60. So q finally is equal to ai, which is 30 I minus 60j. That is your value of q. Now part 3, Hence show that the magnitude of Q is equal to something like this, where K is an integer to be found. Pretty easy. That will be root of the first value square plus the 60 square. Let's see what we have. 30 square plus 60 square. That will give you 45, 1, 2. Now we can rewrite this down there as the factors to help you to find the other values. We need to have a 5 inside, so we know that this can be 9 times 5 times 100. Basically, this one has to remain inside. Now the rest, as you know, root of 9 is 3, root of 100 is 10, and remaining 5 will be inside, so your answer has to be 30 root of 5, where K is an integer, which is 30. Okay, that will be your question number 5. Let's move on to question number 6. So I think in the question, we have this as your shaded area, right? So let me shade this for now so we know what to find in the questions. Okay, so let's see what is the information that we have for this question. So the diagram shows a circle center O, radius 12, so this is also 12 because it is the radius, and the points A, B lie on the circumference of the circle, AB, and form a rectangle with a point CD of length AD is 8, which is BC is also going to be 8, right? And the area of the minor sector AOB will be 150. So we can use that information here to find the angle. Yeah, okay. So let's see. Show that the angle AOB is 2.08 radians. Because we know the area is this, but how do you find area of sector? By using your formula, half r square theta is equal to 150. So theta will be 150 times 2 divided by 12 square. That will be 2.08 radians. This is shown as required. Okay, that is part 1. Now let's move on to part 2. We have to find the area of the shaded region ADC. So how would you find that? Let's observe. What can we do first? So to find this area, we can first find the area of the rectangle, right? Right, you see we have rectangle ABCD. Now to find the area of rectangle, we need to have the width and the length. So we have to find the length first. So let's find the length of AB. So how can you find AB? If you observe, we have a triangle AOB with these two sides we know, and we also know the angle. So we can find this side by using the cosine rule, right? So you will have cosine of 2.08 will be 12 square plus 12 square minus AB square over 2 times 12 times 12. So let's simplify. 2 times 12 times 12 will be 288 cos of 2.08 is equal to 288 minus AB square. So AB square will be what? 288 minus 288 cos. We have to use radians of 2.08. That will give you so that will give 428.3948. So AB will be square root of that value. That will be 20.6977. So because it is not our final answer, we have to look for the more decimal place to have a more accurate value for our answer. So now we have the AB. Now we have to find the area of rectangle. So first, area of rectangle ABCD. That will be length. Say length will be this times width. That will be 165.5816. Now we have to minus this area, right? This is area of segment. So how can you minus this area? So how can you find this area? If you observe, this is the area of the sector minus area of triangle. So we know the area of sector is 150 minus area of triangle. We can use the formula to find this: half time sine of the angle and then times the two sides of the triangle. That will be 144. So 150 minus half of sine, so of 144 times sine of the 2.08. That will be 87.1344. Okay, let's go back. So basically area of segment that we don't need is 87.1344. So from this we can derive that area of the region will be 165.5816 minus 87.1344. That will be 78.4, correct to 3 decimal place, 3 SF, sorry. That will be centimeter square. Now we have to find the perimeter of the region. So how do you find the perimeter? Now if you observe, we can we have this, we have this, we have this also. So this is the same length of as AB, which is 20, which is this one, right? So we just have to find this one, AB. So pretty easy. Arc AB can be found by using your formula, which is r theta. R is the radius, theta is the angle. So 12 times 2.08, that should be 24.96. So perimeter P will be 8 plus 20.6977 plus 8 and plus 24.96. If you observe, basically we have adding this, 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 and this. Okay, that will be your perimeter. 20 point, that will be 61.7 centimeters as your answer. That is question number 6. Let's move on to question number 7. Show that the curve of y has only one stationary point and find the coordinates of this point and determine its nature. So step by step, as you guys know, something we write is at stationary point. What do we know? We know that dy by dx has to be 0. So we know y already, so we have to find dy by dx. So pretty easy. dy by dx will be what? dy by dx will be, here we have power, so first multiply by the power, then we write the same thing on the inside, and we have to minus 1 on the power. That will become 5 over 3 minus 1 is 2 over 3. Then we have to multiply by the differentiation of the inside. That will become 6x. So simplify, this one cancel out, so you will have 10x, and that will be 3x squared plus 8, 2 over 3. That will be first part. Now we have to equate this to 0. So 10x, 3x squared plus 8, 2 over 3 equal to 0 because we want to find the stationary point. So from here you will have two possible answers. 10x is 0, or you will have 3x squared plus 8, 2 over 3 is 0. So let's solve one by one. This one is pretty easy. X will be 0, that's your first point. Okay, and this one will be 3x squared plus 8 is 0. 3x squared is equal to minus 8. So x squared is equal to minus 8 over 3. So this is not possible because you cannot find the square root of a negative number in this paper, right? So you say only imaginary option. So it is not real. Okay, so this is why we reject this one. Reject. Okay, we only have one point left, which is x equal to 0, and we have to find the corresponding value of y because we have to find the point. Now, if x is 0, y is equal to 3 times 0 is 0, plus 8, 5 over 3. So 8 power 5 over 3, that should be 32. Okay, so the point that we have found is 0 and 32. That is the stationary point. So now we have to determine the nature of this point. So for the nature, we have to find d2y by dx2. Okay? So second part, the nature of the point, we have to find d2y by dx2. Now, since we know dy by dx is this thing, as you can see, they are a product, so we have to use our product rule to find this. So first we can leave this one by itself, the second product, and then differentiate the first one, you will have 10. Then we can write plus, and we can leave the first one, and then differentiate this one, you will have 2 over 3, 3x squared, plus 8, minus 1 over 3 times 6x. And that will be everything. So we have to simplify now. Cancel, cancel. That will be 2. You will have 10, 3x squared plus 8, q over 3. And you have, so 2 times 2 is 4, times 10 is 40. 40x, this is x here, square, over this thing. That will be 3x squared plus 8 minus 1 over 3. So we just have to find the value of d2y by dx2 when x is equal to 0 at your stationary point, right? So replace x in here, you will have, so 10 times 8 power 2 over 3 plus 0. So that will be what? 10 times 8 power 2 over 3. That should be, let me try again. So 8 power 2 over 3 is 4 times 10, that will be 40. So your answer here is 40, and you will write, since d2y by dx2 is more than 0, stationary point 0, 32 is a minimum point. Okay, that will be the conclusion, because this is a positive number. Okay, and that will be your question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 8. So here we have, on the axis below, sketch the graph of y equal to 2x minus 5, and then 9y equal to 80x minus 16x squared. So one by one, first let's try to draw this one. So the first thing I like to do is I like to first ignore the decimal, ignore the modulus, and then first pretend to draw the graph. So I'll replace x equal to 0, y will be minus 5. So our first point is 0 minus 5, so let's mark this here for now. And then I increase the value of, I make y become 0. So if y is 0, x will become 2.5. So you will be right here. Right. So now I can pretend to join those 2 points. So because this helped me to know the direction of my line, so now I can pretend to join those 2 points. So the trick here is I only join the point which is above the curve. I mean above this line, but not below, because modulus means it needs to be positive. It cannot go below this. Everything below will be reflected upwards. So minus 5 will become plus 5. So now you just have to join these two to form your graph. Now we have to label this as y equal to modulus 2x minus 5. That is part 1. Now for part 2, as you can see here, this one is a quadratic equation. So you will have a parabola shape in this shape or this shape, right? Now because here it is negative, it will be something in this shape with a maximum value. So how do you find the maximum value? You can find this by using dy by dx, right? Up to you. You can check. So let me do this here. So basically from this I know that y is equal to 80 over 9x minus 16x squared over 9. So let's find dy by dx, because we want to find the stationary point. You will have 80 over 9 minus 32 over 9x. We have to equate that to 0. From this you will realize that the value of x will be, let's check, so that will be what? So on one side, so 80 divided by 32, that will be 2.5. And what is the corresponding value of y? Let's check. 80 over 9 times 2.5 minus 16 over 9 times 2.5 square. That will be 11.1. That is the maximum point of this curve. 2.5, 11.1. So here we just need to sketch, so we can just mark this is 2.5, and we will say 11.1 will be somewhere around here. For example, it is only sketch, no big deal. Now next step is to know where does a curve cut your x-axis. So basically at x-axis we know what? At x-axis y has to be 0. So from this you will realize that x has to be 0, x has to be 5. If you equate that to 0, you will have these two values of x. Now basically you will have to go through this point and this point. So basically that is your maximum value here, and we have to just draw them. So try your best to join those two together. So here you go, this is my curve, and this part here I need to turn this page because I'm not good with the left side. Let me try to do this smoothly. So it should be something like this. Okay, so make sure it goes to the points properly. So it needs to go through this point, and this is the maximum point. That is for part 1. Now for part 2 we have to solve the equation. Pretty easy. So modulus here we can write the first solution will be plus 4 and the other solution will be minus 4. Okay, so x will be what? 9 over 2. X will be 1 over 2. That is the 2 solution of this equation. Now for part 2 we have to show, hence meaning using part 1, show that the graph of this and this intersect at the points where y equal to 4. Pretty easy. We just have to replace the values that we found here in this. So you'll have 9, y is equal to 80, x was, let's choose the first one, half, minus 16, half square is 1 over 4. So you will have what? 80 half minus 16 times 1 over 4, that should give you 36, which means y has to be 4, this one. Now let's try the other point. So 9y again. Now we have 89 over 2 minus 16, 9 over 2. Let's see what happens. So 80 times 9 over 2 minus 16 times 9 over 2. That should be square. Right. That will be same thing, 36. And y is equal to 4. And this is shown as required because they both will intersect at this line. So shown as required. Now for part, this part, find the values of x for which this is less than this. So pretty easy. This is just the both of them intersecting. If you observe, this y is this one, and this is this equation, the curve. So basically we are trying to prove where they intersect, where the modulus is less than the curve. If you observe, where is that true? That is only true between those 2 points where the modulus here is less than, this is 4.5, this is 0.5. So between those two, it has to be less than the curve. So our range, our domain will be, you will write, it is only between those two values that it is true that the modulus is, the blue line is below than the brown line. Between those two values, that's why it is our result for part 4. That is your question number 8. Now let's move on to question number 9. So here we have to show that 5 plus tan square this plus sec equal to this one. So equal left hand side equal to the right hand side. So you have to know now that this can be simplified too, because sec square, let's say an angle, is equal to 1 plus tan square, which means tan square is equal to sec square a minus 1. Same thing, 5 plus 4. That will be sec square x over 3 minus 1. That is 5 plus 4 sec square x over 3 minus 4. That will give you 4 sec square x over 3 plus 1. This is shown as required. Now for part 2, given that d by dx of this give you this, find this one. So from this we can derive that integration of 1 over 3 of sec square x over 3 dx is supposed to give you back this answer. So based on that, we can derive that integration of this, only this without the, should give you, because if you want to eliminate 1 over 3, you have to multiply by 3 everywhere. So you will have 3 tan of x over 3. Okay, so that will be the answer for this integration. Now moving on to part 3, we have this curve right here, same curve from part 1. The diagram shows the curve y. Using your results from 1 and 2, find the exact area for that region. So from 1 we have realized that this is also equal to 4 sec square of the angle plus 1. We know this. So basically we have to find the integration of this curve, which is 4 sec square of the angle plus 1 dx between those two limits, pi and pi by 2. So that will give you what? You know that integrating this will give you 3 tan x over 3. So we have 4 here. 3 times 4 is 12. That will give you 12 tan x over 3. And this will be plus x. And limits between pi and pi over 2. So let's do that. So we just have to replace the values now. So first one, you will have 12 tan of pi over 3 plus pi, then minus 12 tan of pi over 2 divided by 3 will be pi over 6 plus pi over 2. Okay, so let's simplify. So what are these values? Because here we need to find the exact values, right? Exact area. So so we have tan of pi over 3. That is 1.73. If you guys know, it should be exact value of root 3. So this one is root 3. Now what is this one? Tan, so we have to tan of pi over 6. That will be 0.577. If you guys know, that should be 1 divided by root 2. Sorry, that's not the one. That should be, oh, I know. So 1 divided by root 3. Yeah, this is 1 divided by root 3. So basically the main thing is you guys need to know what are the exact angles. It really helps. I would say, usually I would say don't memorize, but honestly, because these questions come up so often, it comes all the time. So I would say definitely memorize those values for like sine, cos, tan, for these angles, 30, 60, and 45. So memorize every exact value that you know for this angle, because it will come up all the time. You will see that in A-level, in add math, all the time they will ask you for exact volume, exact area. So it is better if you just memorize those. Okay, now let's simplify. You will have 12 root 3 plus pi minus 12 over root 3. That will be minus surplus pi over 2. Now we can simplify. We can take this minus this. That will give you pi over 2, and this minus this will give you, so if you make it become the same base, you will have 12 here, and here you will have 36. So this will become plus because positive. So your answer will be 24 over root 3 plus pi over 2. And this is your answer for question number 9. And that's it, I think. Now let's move on to question number 10. Given that y is equal to this value right here, find dy by dx. So how can you find dy by dx? As you can see, it is a fraction. You have to use your quotient rule. So dy by dx is equal to, so first we have to write the base as it is, and then multiply by the differentiation of this one. That will be 3 exponential 3x minus 3x times the differentiation of the base will be 8x, and everything divided by square of the base, which is 4x squared plus 1 squared. Now simplify, you will have 3 exponential power 3x, 4x squared plus 1 minus 8x exponential 3x on top, and this divided by 4x squared plus 1 squared. Now you can simplify some more, you can just stop right here, and that is fine as well. Okay, that is up to you. Now let's say if you want to simplify, let's continue here. Let's say if you want to simplify, you will have exponential 3x outside. You will have, this will go in, you will have 12x squared plus 3 minus 8x. And this will be over 4x squared plus 1 squared. That will be dy by dx if you want to simplify. Now for part B, we have variables x and y in T such that this is the equation that we have for them. Now we know that y is this and dy by dt is equal to 10. Okay. Now part 1, find the value of dy by dx when x equal to pi by 2. So how do you find dy by dx? So we have to find through this equation, but we have to understand why they gave us this value, maybe for afterwards, but let's first solve this one. So dy by dx, let's find this step by step. So 4 is only a multiple. If you differentiate cos, you will get minus sine of the angle, right? And then this will be only a multiple. That will be cos of the angle. So that will be your dy by dx. Now replace the value of x equal to pi by 2. Let's see what we get. So what is pi by 2 if you check? So we can just add this inside, no worries. So minus 4 sine, let's use radians here. We have pi over 2 plus pi over 3 plus 2 root 3 cos. So let's first find the angles, because if we want the exact value, we will need to first find the angles value here, this and this value. So on the first one we have sine of pi over 2 plus pi over 3. That will be 0.5. And here we have cos of pi by 2 plus pi by 3. That should be minus root 3 over root 2. Okay, so now we have to replace the values. So minus 4 times this will be minus half. So minus 2, sorry. Minus 4 times minus half. So minus 4 times half will be 2. Minus 2, sorry. So let's try again. So 4 times minus 0.5 will be minus 2. This one will become, so we have plus 2 root 3 times minus root 3 over 2. Cancel, cancel. Minus 2 minus 3. That will be minus 5. So dy by dx at this value is equal to minus 5. Now for part 2, we have to find the value of dx by dt. So we have to use our chain rule. So dx by dt is equal to dx, and here we have to multiply something, and here we have dt, and they have to be connected by dy. So dx by dy is equal to minus 1 over 5, because dy by dx was minus 5, right? So we have to flip it upside down. Now multiply by dy by dx is equal to, dy by dt is equal to 10. 10, that will be minus 2. So your value for dx by dt will be minus 2. And that will be your question number 10. So that will be the paper for the year 2017 May June paper 1-1. And as always, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will get back to you as soon as possible. And always, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon.